Atop a towering mountain where morning mist lingers and the echoes of temple bells chime every evening, stood an ancient monastery. This sacred place was home to a wise and compassionate abbot who welcomed young seekers longing for enlightenment. Among them was a young man named Ethan. Ethan carried an invisible burden on his shoulders: painful childhood memories, past failures, and broken relationships. They weighed on him like heavy stones, pressing against his soul. Though he had come to the monastery in search of inner peace, the storm inside him refused to settle. One day, unable to bear it any longer, Ethan approached the abbot, hoping for guidance. "Master, I feel trapped by my past. Every day I dwell on things I could have done differently, mistakes I wish I had never made. I don't know how to find peace." The abbot smiled gently and replied, "Ethan, if you truly seek an answer, travel to the distant mountain. There you will find an old hermit who has abandoned the world to live in solitude. He may help you." Without hesitation, Ethan set out, his heart filled with hope. Ethan's journey was anything but easy. The path was rugged, the cliffs steep, and the dense forest tested his resolve. But despite the obstacles, he pressed forward. By the time he reached the hermit's hut, the sun was setting. The old man was meditating by a small stream. Without opening his eyes, he gestured for Ethan to sit. "I know why you have come," the hermit finally said, his voice calm and measured. "But before you understand peace, you must complete a task." He then picked up a large stone and placed it in front of Ethan. "Carry this stone down to the village below, then return here." Ethan hesitated, confused by the request. But he didn't want to refuse, so he lifted the heavy rock onto his shoulders and began his descent. At first, the stone seemed manageable, but before long, its weight became unbearable. His steps grew slow, sweat dripped from his forehead, and his muscles screamed in protest. By the time he reached the base of the mountain, his entire body ached, and he could barely stand. At that moment, a thought crossed his mind. "Why am I carrying this rock? The hermit never said I couldn't put it down." A realization struck him, but to confirm his understanding, Ethan decided to return to the hermit. When Ethan arrived back at the hut, the old man was waiting, his eyes filled with quiet wisdom. "Master," Ethan panted, still catching his breath, "the stone was so heavy, but why did I carry it all the way down? You never told me I had to hold on to it." The old man nodded and smiled. "That's right. You could have put it down at any time, but you didn't because you believed you had to carry it all the way." Ethan stood in stunned silence. The hermit continued, "This is how most people live, with pain, regrets, and memories that weigh them down. No one forces them to hold on to these burdens, yet they refuse to let go." Ethan was speechless. Then, without hesitation, he released the stone, watching it thud against the ground. A profound sense of relief washed over him, as if not just the stone, but all his emotional burdens had been lifted. "Remember, Ethan," the hermit said, "the past only has power over you if you allow it to. Let go, and you will find true freedom." Ethan's story is a reflection of all of us. We all carry pain, regrets, and sorrow from our past. But the real question is, can we let them go? Like Ethan, we often hold on to our suffering, believing we must carry it forever. But the truth is, no one is forcing us to. The moment we choose to release our burdens, we free ourselves. Because happiness is not the absence of hardship. It is the ability to not let hardship control our lives. Take a moment to think. Are you holding on to something that no longer serves you? If so, ask yourself, Why haven't I put it down yet? Sometimes peace doesn't come from fighting battles. It comes from learning to let go.